Rise and shine, YouTube. Today we got another review for you. This is the Teevolution Terra Pro that was sent out for review by them. And, well, I picked up a G703 for this review personally because it is heavily inspired by the G703. Now, is it a direct one-to-one clone? I don't actually necessarily think so, right? I have 16:9 hands, and, well, I feel every little curvature in every single mouse because I have such small hands and I'm very limited to the kind of grip styles that work for me on different shapes and sizes. So we're going to talk about the shapes, we're going to talk about the differences. But let's talk about what you get with the mouse. You get this guy, and the mouse only costs around $59. So you get a 49-gram ergonomic mouse heavily inspired by the G703. And if you get, you're going to get the special edition Terra, and this actually has a few little goodies in there. First off, you get this 10% off coupon code for any of your next purchase. You just got to fill out that back, take a picture of it, send it to the email, and they'll send you a coupon that never expires. So if you want 10% off your next purchase, the special edition has that, and you're good to go. The grips have a slightly different design on it than the standard. The standard ones are just black. But you see here, you have a few nice, cool looking design, Genesis, all that on the grips themselves. The grips have a nice texture to them. They're almost kind of like chalky. So they really don't feel like they're gonna get all moisty and clammy like some other grips will. But I don't use grips in general, so they kind of just stayed in the bag. In here, you also get a bunch of these collector's cards. I don't think there's anything outside of these that has a purpose for them. Just if you like the collector's cards, you have everything from the tech specs. So you got the shape, sensor, polling rate switch, DPI connection, and you got the physical specs of the mouse itself. So you got different colors, different cards here, right? Collection card, bada bing, bada boom. All these have different backings on them. So if you're into that stuff, you get that with this as well. Inside the box itself, you are going to get the mouse, and then on top of that, you got a nice USB-C cable. It is nice and braided, and the cable itself doesn't really have a stress kind of where you see on other kind of USB cables. Let me see if I can find one for you real quick. Most of these will have a stress relief on them. So for example, the OP14K has a nice little stress relief, so it's not just flat. The Terra Pro does not have that, but it is a nice braided cable. It is pretty thick. I use a different cable for all my mice anyways. And in here, you got some more accessories. You're going to get these standard grips. You're going to get some stickers. You're going to get standard PTFE dots. You're going to get the black dots as well, which are a little more controlled. And if you did not like the kind of honeycomb pattern, which are basically the 4-pad airs, you have the basic PTFE dock skates with it as well. You do get a standard dongle, and, well, I highly suggest you pick up the 8K dongle because it is like a mini television on your desk. So I'll put these guys away later. Let's take a look at the 8K receiver. This was also sent out with the mouse, and like I said, this is a television on your desk. You get the battery life, you get the DPI, polling rate, LOD, motion sync, profile, so you can swap different profiles on the fly, and you have your angle snap if it's on or off. When it comes down to it, you can also change the brightness. So say you don't want it too bright, there are 4 different settings, and if you want to turn it off, you just hold the button on the right side of it and it turns off. Now, the red kind of thing shows that there's no signal. That's because the mouse isn't moving. when the mouse is moving, you're going to see it light up to say that there is a steady connection to the mouse. And that's all she wrote. So you get a cool dongle, a cool 8K dongle for $59 plus or minus a few dollars, right? Shipping, blah, blah, blah. For that low, and this being pretty much now a budget mouse, that is a very good thing to get with all those actual accessories. You can get a pulsar mouse for a lot more expensive, but they don't actually give you extra stock skates. Sometimes they'll give you their controlled dots, which I don't like at all. So I wish more companies just gave you stock skates out of the box. Zowie does it. I've been loving the Zowie mice. So yeah, I just need more companies to give me more skate options for their mice in the box because they're not expensive to make. Now, let's talk about the shape. The shape of these are very, very similar. I would say they're about 99% the same mouse, with the exception of a few different millimeters in hand or just how they kind of molded the mouse itself. First, the G703. This was actually bought by me, and I picked this up because I've never used this mouse before in my life, and I wanted to see how this felt side by side the Terra Pro. And so I can get you guys a good comparison to the mouse that is heavily inspired the Terra Pro, right? In hand, the G703, right, feels slightly more narrow than the Terra Pro. Now, what I mean by that is the side profiles where your thumb goes feels like it is more pronounced on the G703 than it is on the Terra Pro. You can even see here with these guys, it kind of kicks back out a little further. And just in-hand feel, it feels like the Terra Pro is just slightly wider, kind of pushes out a little more. And I'll actually show you Elo Shapes. Yes, I don't really like using Elo Shapes a lot because it doesn't really feel the hand feel. It doesn't show you how it's going to feel in hand because a lot of mice do feel different than their outlines look. But the Elo Shapes actually kind of displays what I'm feeling on the left-hand side, so I can give you kind of like a visual description of it. So this is what I'm going to show you with the Elo Shapes. Don't always trust Elo Shapes, but I kind of find this to be a good representation because this is what I'm feeling in hand. Is the yellow is the Terra Pro and the green is the Lightspeed. The yellow showing or showcasing that the Terra Pro kind of comes out ever so slightly more for the thumb, while the Lightspeed kind of has a more pronounced curvature going inward, and that's where my thumb rests. So the Terra Pro feeling slightly wider, that's just because of that kick out of the side and that curvature for your thumb. There you go. Also in hand, right? Both of these mice, I mean, they do feel very, very similar with that exception of the left-hand side. Now, in-game, I didn't have an issue with the differences, right? Because I kind of used the same grip style. It's more of like a relaxed claw. I didn't like palm this mouse purely because the mouse actually is a very large mouse for my hand size. Me being 16 by 9 centimeter hands, these mice are pretty big. So these are more towards like the medium to large hands. For smaller hands, there are a lot better shapes for you to use. But if you're somebody that likes the G703 and you have medium to large hands and you wanted to try the Terra Pro, I actually would recommend it for you because it is a good ergonomic shape. Like for me, the G703 feels slightly better, right? I can get a better kind of pull in with it than the Terra Pro. It just feels like the Terra Pro is just slightly larger in hand feel. That's it. That's it. Now, a lot of people will say it's identical. It's the exact same thing. For me personally, it is not. But clicks wise, right? The Terra Pro is using optical switches, while the G703 is going to be using the kind of mechanical switches from Logitech. I think they're mechanical. They definitely feel mechanical. Now, the side buttons on the Terra Pro are at a different angle, right? These kind of, it just looks like a different angle because of that nice slit in the middle. They're a little bit bigger side buttons on the Terra Pro than the G703. But if you look closely about the G703 and the Terra Pro actually comes up, it looks like it comes up a little higher in hand, and I do feel that as well. I feel like the G703 is ever so slightly flatter, and the Terra Pro comes up ever so slightly higher. You can kind of see that with the same kind of grip style. Just ever so slightly more space in between the G703 with the hump in my hand than there is with the Terra Pro. So yeah, heavily inspired shape. The G703 is what Teevolution decided to make, and they almost hit it directly to the T. But a lot of the shapes that are quote unquote clones or exact copies or replica of other shapes, for example, the Inca versus the ZA13, there's always going to be some sort of millimeter difference, or how a company kind of brings the sides down and everything like that, right? How they taper the bottom off, making something feel ever so slightly different between another mouse, right? A lot of the times I've seen people say exact this, exact copy this, exact copy that, and I've felt more times than none that a lot of reviewers like don't really feel the difference between mice shapes. Is it because of hand size? Which, I mean, it is, right? Smaller hands have a very limited range of kind of grips on certain mice, especially the larger kind of styles. So for me, having smaller hands, I'm going to feel more of the curvatures, more of the differences between heights and widths and how the sides curve than somebody who has just giant hands and their hands hang over and they kind of grip everything the same. I honestly can't grip everything the same based on shapes and weights and sizes because of having small hands. That's just the perk. You see a lot of more differences than a lot of other people will. It is what it is. All in all, in conclusion though, sorry I just ran off on a little tangent on shape, but that's why shape is so important with every mouse that you use, because one shape might feel different to your hand style, your grip style, your hand shape than somebody else's hand size, hand grip, or like grip style they use, hand shape, finger shape. It's all an endless loop of trying things out, and well, until you find that end game. But in conclusion, the Terra Pro, right, is a damn good shape. It is a very good shape if you are looking for something that is inspired by the G703. If you have larger hands, I highly recommend it. If you do have smaller hands, I would say to try some other ergonomic shapes, because this mouse is going to be a beefy mouse in your hand. Is it bad? No. Is there better shapes for small-handed users? Yes. But shout out for Teevolution for sending this out. It was a joy to use, and I can't wait to see if they make a smaller one. Yeah. So, rise up. God bless. Have a fantastic Easter if you celebrate it, and we'll see you for the next review.